Okay, it's working. So, hey everybody, welcome to this Mirasys webinar today, and I'm very glad that you are attending today. So I hope it will be a good session for you and also give you a good new news about some functions that we have in our software. So the topic today is really, about the safe and intelligent data storage, and we are especially talking about the Mirasys SDD, the secure data distribution, and the ABUR automatic backup and restore function in Mirasys. So let me introduce myself first of all. So I'm Udo Schneider. I'm business development manager and sales manager for Mirasys here in Central Europe. And I'm in the company still, I think 7 or 8 years right now, so I can't remember when I started, so maybe it's my age. Sorry for that. And I'm really glad to present to you this webinar today. So a work or some homework for you. So if you have any questions, please write them into this webinar toolbox so that you can raise them afterwards. And we will have a Q&A session afterwards at the end so that I can answer the questions. Especially if the question cannot be answered, it's important that you are not setting this question as an anonymous attendee, but please write in your email address so that we maybe can answer this question afterwards. So it's very important. Otherwise, we do not know who you are, and we cannot come back to you at the end. Yeah, all right, let's start. So I think first of all, it is very important that we have some information about Mirasys as well. So maybe some of you are new, so heard the first time and attend the first time on this webinar and never heard about Mirasys. So we want to have some words about Mirasys as well. So we are calling us an open, easy, secure, and wise software. So what does it mean? So we will have some words about that. And that we are going in medias res. So we will have information about the Mirasys secure data distribution as well as about the automatic backup and restore functionality. And then at the end, as I said, we have a Q&A session. All right, so let's have a look. Yeah, Mirasys, who are we? Mirasys is a company that has been established in 1997, so we are 24 years in the market right now. We are well known as technology provider or technology pusher. And the company is located in Espoo in Finland. So we have been in Helsinki. Espoo is not far away from that. So we have moved last year to Espoo into a technology center, a technology park. So we are much closer right now to our technology partners as well as to the university in Espoo, so that we can also raise projects together with students. And this is exactly what Mirasys is standing for. We want to push technologies, new technologies into our VMS. And that's a very important message for you as well. So we are not the market leader, but technology leader is important for us. So we are dealing in more than 40 countries right now with our partners, together with our partners. We have resellers there, distributors, system integrators, installers we are cooperating with. So we have very close partnerships with them. And sometimes we have also direct contact to end customer. And this is also very important for us because Mirasys stands also for going the additional mile beyond the solution. That means we want to have a deeper look to the customer requirements, and sometimes we identify, or very often we identify, that there are more needs than only the video management system. So in that case, we must have an open platform architecture to interconnect with different solutions as well. But later to this. We are feeling very well with all kind of verticals. We're coming from the banking sector. That's where we have started the company. We're feeling well with safe city environments, military installations, governmental installations, critical infrastructure, but also with retail or real estate installations. So if you have any idea or any customers in that verticals or in other verticals, industry or whatever, we have also references there, and that's very important to tell. So we are not concentrating on some kind of verticals. We're having solutions for all these kind of verticals. So, and also we have references everywhere. So if you see here, for example, some very well-named European banks, prisons, for example, cities, surveillance systems, railway authorities, ports, airports, retail chains, whatever you can imagine. So we have references. You can ask how Mirasys is looking like or how Mirasys is dealing with them. First sentence was Mirasys is an open system. Open ecosystem does mean that we have interconnections to a lot of technologies providers. So command and control systems, facial recognition, radar, sensors, infrared sensors, access control, technology providers, whatever you can imagine. And the good point is not only Mirasys is investing into this, but also our partners. So let's say most of the integrations, most of the connectivities to those third parties are coming either from the technology provider itself, because there is a demand for that, or they are coming from projects. And that's very important. If it is done by for one project, it is available for all other customers as well in most of the cases. There is most of the time no exclusivity for that. Open platform does mean also that we can deal with all kinds of cameras. So we have more than 8,000 cameras with native drivers, with rich native drivers with additional features in our software. That means we have a close cooperation with all the named camera manufacturers today. And we are also OnVIF member. So that means our OnVIF driver is very broadband. That means we can nearly every OnVIF camera connect to our system. Sometimes it happens that a very exotic camera manufacturer is understanding OnVIF a little bit different and his driver is a little bit different. So in that case, we try to cooperate with this camera manufacturer as well and give them some advice how they can change it so that it is working OnVIF compatible, or we expand our OnVIF driver so that it can also talk to his camera. And independent also, if it is a webcam, if it is a body cam or a smartphone cam. So we understood as a camera every kind of video information that you can grab into the market, even if it is a monitor, a PC or a laptop monitor or whatever. How can we do this? How can we interact with all this? First of all, or why? First of all, we are calling us a deep vision data company. We understand that the future of an VMS system is not only related to video footage. It's also related to interact with third-party systems. So that means the exchange of data is very important for us. The exchange with access controls for systems, for example, or other systems, business ERP systems or whatever is very important for us. So in that case, our system must be easy to adopt those connectivities in a very simple and smart way, cost-effective way. So we do this with this universal data driver, UDD, and proxies, so that there is no need of new development or in-deep development in the core software. So we have also our SDKs for sure that we or our technology partners are using, our integrators are using to manage the video management system, for example, from a PSIM system. So in that case, these are also very simple, very easy to understand, and the integration normally takes not more than 14 days. So key for us is the integration path. Make it easy, make it simple, make it cost effective, and enrich the information flow that we have in the system. Easy does also mean that we have a software, a user interface, a management interface that is easy to use. It starts with the installation. If an installation is very hard to do, if it is very complex, if you have to install an extra database, if you have installed additional features on the operating system platform, then it does not make really sense. Then it is not really fun. So we deliver one package which is containing all the packages that you need to start the system, to install the system. So normally it's done within 5 minutes. So it must be also easy to configure. So the configuration, if an administrator or, for example, an installer is doing the configuration, it should not be essential that he is first of all following an in-deep certification path with a lot of training. So it must be easy for him as well to configure the system, to adapt the system to the customer requirements. But on the other side, the system must be also deliver complex scenarios. So in that case, Mirasys has found a way how to do this in a very simple way. So we have no certification path, we have an online training platform, and normally if you start to learn the system, how to configure it, it is very intuitive. It can be done within half a day. So there is no need for 1 week certification training, for example. And at the end, also the end user has to have a very simple and flexible user interface. You see here in the background our Mirasys Spotter interface. And when I've seen this the first time, I thought, wow, this is looking like a Microsoft system or a Microsoft software application. So I felt very well and very familiar with this. And then I start to dig into the functionalities, and I saw everything is there where I expected to be. So in that case, our customers, they do not need to have a 2 days training on this. They can do it in a very simple way, train them by themselves. So also if you have new employees, it is very easy to introduce them into the system. So I've once done a training for a hotel, and the employees, after half an hour, when I explained the spotter in that way, how it is looking like, how you work with this, they said, Udo, go away, let's touch this. I think that's so easy that we can do it handled by ourselves. And then I was sitting in the back drinking a coffee and saw how the guys were trying to understand the system. Sometimes I gave them a short advice, but within 2 hours, they were professionals in that way. So, and at the end, easy to use does mean also if you maintain the system, if you manage the system, if you admin the system, it must be done from a central point of view. If you have a distributed system worldwide, you do not need to go on site if you want to upgrade a server. If you want to add a camera, let an electrician install the camera on site and you manage it from the central point of view. Exactly this recorder, exactly this camera can be implemented from a central point of view. So all the things, license management, whatever, can be done from a central point of view, independent if you have a good connectivity or if you have a bad connectivity. There is no limit in that way. Yeah, easy to get is also a point. Easy. Yeah, we have a very simple license structure, except some options, some smaller options. The license structure is based on cameras. How many cameras do you want to connect to the system? The license is reflecting to this. It does not matter how many servers you are connecting to the system. It does not matter how many users are connected to the system, how many users you are installing or client PCs you are installing. The only point for us is how many cameras you are connecting to the system. Today, one limitation, we are MAC based on the server, not on the camera, but on the server. This does mean, okay, you need to tell us on how many cameras you want to connect to what server. But in future, so let's say end of this year, beginning of next year, we will have a license server, a centralized license server. Then it does not matter for us anymore how many servers you are connecting to the system and where the cameras are. It can distribute it automatically. It is also important to understand that the camera license is not dedicated to this special camera, to the MAC address of the camera. It does not matter for us if you use, for example, those kind of cameras and next day this kind of cameras. If you replace the camera, you don't need to renew the license. So that makes it very easy for you to maintain the system, to manage the system, and also to sell the system, because it does mean one camera, one single license, that's it. Okay, secure system. So today it's very important to make a system more and more secure. So we are following very strongly this path. So encryption for us is very important. So the communication today is encrypted between the cameras and the servers, between the servers and the master, between the servers and the clients. There is no doubt about this. So one click and the system is encrypted. The communication is changing to HTTPS communication today. So we are doing this as well. So internal communication, very smart, very sophisticated HTTPS communication is coming up. But encryption does also mean that the streams must be encrypted. So in former times, I knew these arguments. Okay, a stream cannot be reviewed by the third party because it is, you need to log in, etc., etc. This is not true. Honestly, streams must be encrypted, not only between the servers and the clients, but also between the camera and the servers. And we are developing this more and more. So we have today the major camera manufacturers, where we are encrypting together with them the streams from the camera to the servers, but also with more and more camera manufacturers, we are doing this work. So to make this more and more secure, this is the future. This is what you need. Identification in the system is also very important. Today we have two password authentication. To enter the system only if you add 2 passwords, or 4 eyes, how it is called in German. But we have also 2-factor authentication. That does mean you have not only 2 passwords, but you need also to go to your authentication account on your smartphone and read the code and enter the code. The code is rotating every 15 seconds. So in that case, you have a very secure entrance. And even if this is not enough for you, so we have also ID card integration done by one of our partners, where you put an ID card on a reader and then you can enter the software only in that way. So entrance is very important. And at the end, as I mentioned, we are pushing more and more into this. So we are talking about certifications, general certification of devices in the system, etc. So cybersecurity is very important for us, and we can give you a very good advice. Yeah, if you have a lot of data in the system, it's also important that you can manage this data, that you get the right data at the right time to the right person. So video content analysis is very important for us. So the standard VCA, as you know it today, sophisticated VCA, well-working VCA, is part of our system. So you can create rules on there, multiple rules per camera, so to understand for different schedules, different rules. And what is coming up is also artificial intelligence. So I would not name, so there is a discussion on the market if video content analysis as it is today, VCA, is artificial intelligence. I would say no, but others say yes. Artificial intelligence is for me that you create models and learn the models on existing material for certain specialized behavior. So this is coming up more and more, and we are running also more and more into specialized projects, customized projects for artificial intelligence. We have our partners there, we have our own staff, which is feeling very familiar with this. We have our professionals there, and we are very willing to work with you, our end customer or our partner, on special requirements from our customer base, independent if it is a bank or a prison or a city surveillance. So there are very good models in the world of artificial intelligence today we can use also in video surveillance today. So if you have any ideas what we can do, talk to us and we will give you some quotation, we will give you some proposal, some proof of concept or whatever. It is also important to use intelligent cameras today. So we have proxy metadata driver for a couple of camera manufacturers where we can read the metadata, where we can understand the intelligence of the camera and can create alarms out of this metadata. So we have facial and motion blurring in the system already in the standard license, so it's free of charge. You don't need to pay for an extra facial or motion blurring system, as it is partly today. And then we are investing also in forensic analyzing. So person search in version 9.3 is the first forensic tool that we have, where you can drill into multiple camera views and check out of historical data or live data, search for similar persons, identifying the same person or a similar person on different videos to follow up and to track. And this will be enhanced in the nearest future as well. We have a clear roadmap for that, so that we also go to object search in the future over multiple cameras, that we do it, that we create metadata out of this already when the system is recording the data, that we can search for colors, for motorcycles, for pickups, etc., to give you a very good forensic tool for a very reasonable price. So I know the competition. I know that there are sometimes very high price. So we try to do it on existing libraries for you on a very reasonable price to make your video footage, your video data more intelligent and enable you to get the right data at the right time. So to work with Mirasys and its platform does mean for you that you have, based on openness, easiness, on security, and on intelligence, on the WISE system, to have a lower total cost of ownership, that you need to have less investment. And this will also be reflected by the two functionalities that I'm explaining to you today. We have less investment costs, less installation costs, less training costs. We have a non-majoring system. If you buy an SMA from us, so then you are getting access to all the upgrades that we have. And at the end, we are very customer focused because we love to solve customer problems and customer issues and to enrich the return on an invest of a customer, to understand how we can expand his system, how we can give his system more business value. Yeah, if you are interested into a partnership or in more, please contact us and we will stay in contact with you. We will start the talk and maybe you will become a member of this Mirasys family. Now let's go into the main features that we want to talk about today. The first is Mirasys SDD Secure Data Distribution. So if we are talking about safe and intelligent data management, first of all, we need to look how we manage the video data, the video recordings. This is done by Mirasys SDD. And in the second part, we are talking about how to manage the backup of all the system, of the whole system, and this is done by ABUR. Let's start with the secure data distribution. What does it mean? A very nice secret. So normally, if we are talking about integrity of data, if we are talking about the redundancy of data, we're talking about RAID systems. RAID systems have some advantages, but they have also a lot of disadvantages. So we have invested years ago into secure data distribution. What does it mean? So we distributed data in a very intelligent way to different hard disks. So what does it mean? So if we are taking a video stream of one camera, it will be separated into different parts and it will be split, it will be recorded or stored on multiple hard disks in that way. That means, for example, if you have one video stream with 12 frames per second, we take the first frames, the frames of 1 second and put it to the hard disk 1. And then we take the second, put it on hard disk 2, the third second on hard disk 3, and the fourth second on hard disk 4. And then we start with the fifth second video on hard disk, again on hard disk 1. So we separate the data and we split the data into different portions and put it on different hard disks. So if a hard disk is lost, you still have a valuable stream and viewable stream. It reduces the hardware redundancy in that case, that you don't need to invest into a RAID system with RAID controller and more hard disks, etc., etc. And it keeps your information safe. And it minimizes also the cost of ownership because you do not need to invest into a RAID system or into a redundant system. So what does it mean in detail? Let's have a look. So normally you have, for example, one SSD for the operating system and the Mirasys software. And then you have a second partition or additional hard disks where you put all the video data in. So in that case, if you have only one partition or one hard disk, it does mean that Mirasys is storing all the streams, all the frames on this hard disk. This is not really recommended, maybe for smaller systems or a small kind of PC where is only one hard disk in. So for, let's say, not that critical infrastructure, it's okay. For a shop, for a bar or whatever, that's great. Yeah, but it's not recommended. I will explain you later why. If you have two partitions, two logical drives or two hard drives, then we are doing following. So as I said, we're splitting each stream of each camera into different parts. So the first, second frames are stored in the first partition. The second streams are stored here, and then the third ones are here, the fourth ones are here. So we are splitting, we are jumping between two hard disks and splitting the stream into these portions. We can do this also with three partitions. So then we are doing the same, the first second here, the second here, the third second here, and then we start again. So we are distributing this. And we can do this also with 4 material partitions. We can do it with more material partitions. So, but we recommend it normally. We have the best performance if we do it with 4 partitions. Independent how big the partitions are. That's also important to mention. So what is happening in case of a hard disk failure? So if we have only one partition, sorry, if it is failing, we don't have any information anymore. We don't have any access to this hard disk. So nothing. So that's why I mentioned this is not really recommended. You understand this. If we have 2 partitions or 2 hard disks and one hard disk is broken, you still have a stream. You have access to the stream immediately. And you have only lost 50% of the stream. That means the stream is jumping a bit, but you have 1 second, the 3rd second, the 4th second, etc., etc. So you have half of the stream, and that's very important to understand. I think we can also make something here if you have special requirements for that. What is happening if you have 3 partitions? If one partition is failing or one hard disk is failing, you still have 66 or 67% of the stream immediately, no loss. And that's important. You have only lost 30% of the stream, but the rest is available for you. So and then you can replace the hard disk. Maybe you have a hot swappable system, so you can replace the hard disk. The hard disk is again occupied by our VMS, and it started to record again. If a second hard disk is breaking, you still have 33% of the stream. And that's very important to understand. At the end, if the third hard disk is breaking, you have nothing. Again, but normally this is not really happening. So if we are using our hardware, normally the hard disks are running 5-7 years without any problems. So in that case, you have really, let's say, not redundant system, but a secure data distributed system, and you still have hard disks. What are the differences between the RAID system, or what are the advantages and disadvantages between a RAID system and our SDD? So stream availability after hard disk crash. In the SDD, you have immediate access to the streams because there is no interrupt. And you have the full stream with less frames per second. But still you have a stream, and that's very important. If you have 25 frames per second, for example, yeah, and you have 5 hard disks, you're losing only 20%. You have lost 5 frames per second. That's it. In the RAID system, the system needs to reconstruct the hard disk if you replace it, and it's taking time. And even if the system, the stream is actually on the broken hard disk, you don't have any access, then you are lost. So it takes time. If you are lucky, you have a certain stream, but it could happen that you don't have a stream. How's it about the reconstruction time? In SDD, there is no need for reconstruction time because there is no reconstruction. If one disk of 4 is failing and you replace it, you have lost 25%, but you still have a full stream. In the RAID system, it could take days, depending on the size of the hard disk, to reconstruct the whole information on this hard disk. So you need to understand, if the system is recording, if you receive data, or if it is sending data to a couple of end users in the same way and needs to reconstruct a broken hard disk, so it takes a lot of this performance of the system. And even if you have, for example, a system that is at the end of its performance, yeah, because you have added so many cameras, it can take days, sometimes also weeks. So the influence on performance during the reconstruction, here there is no influence. Here there could be a high influence depending on the performance of the server. Reading performance on the hard disk. In the SDD, it is very high. You can imagine if you split each stream to maybe 4 hard disks, so you have let's say nearly 4 times higher speed to write the data on the hard disks. So this is done by our system immediately. In the RAID system, there is a normal performance on writing and reading. There is nearly no additional, let's say, advantage here. The defragmentation of the hard disk is also very important. In the SDD, you don't have any defragmentation. In the RAID, you have normal defragmentation depending on the tools that they're using. The defragmentation here is 0, because what we are doing is, if the system is identifying a hard disk and you put the hard disk or the logical drive to the system, it automatically writing container to this. That does mean if you see it on the Windows system, it is red, it is full. And then we are writing the streams into this container. So there is no defragmentation anymore. And then at the end, the server performance requirement here in the SDD, there is no controller needed. In the RAID system, you need a controller, a hardware or software controller. It is eating performance, it takes performance, and it also takes additional costs. So these are the advantages. So I think from that point of view, if you're looking for the total cost of ownership, if you're looking for the advantages, if you're looking for the performance, secure data distribution as Mirasys is providing it is very unique, and it is saving a lot of costs. It makes the system very, let's say, redundant, because you have streams there with less frames per second, sure, but you have streams. And it gives you a very good and sophisticated tool to get the best, the optimum out of your system. Surely there are a couple of partners or end customers who are saying this is not enough because we have the highest critical infrastructure here that we need to secure. But then honestly, there are other ways as well. Instead of investing into a RAID system, then maybe it is better to use the SDD, but to do, for example, dual recording, redundant recording on 2 servers. This is sometimes much cheaper than to invest into a RAID system. Okay, this was about the SDD, so how to store the video footages, the video data in the best way, in the most efficient way that you can do. Let's talk about the ABUR. ABUR, automatic backup and restore functionality in Mirasys. So first of all, to name it, to let you know, this feature is included if you buy hardware from us. If you buy the Mirasys hardware, the ABUR is on a USB stick as a feature, and this is inside the server, or if the server does only have in USB connectivity in the back, it's in the back. So every hardware is delivered with our ABUR. If you buy your own hardware, it's not content of this. So then you need to go different ways. I will give you some additional information about our hardware later on, because I think that's very important. What does this ABUR do? First of all, it copies immediately every change, configuration change that you are doing in your system on the server, on each server. If you add an additional camera and you configure the camera in the server, it automatically back up this information, these settings to the ABUR. If you do changes on the user rights, it automatically back up this on the server. So each server has its own small database, and the master also a big area database, and everything is stored on this ABUR immediately. Then it is also doing a daily backup of all the Mirasys VMS settings. So that means it does not matter if you have done changes today or not, it automatically back up all the changes that has been done during the day. There are sometimes automatically changes where you have no influence in. So in that case, it is important to do also a daily backup of that. Then it is also backing up all your VMS licenses that you have in the system on the server, independent of it's our VMS license or VCA licenses, connectivity license, or whatever you have. Does not matter. It's backing up your VMS licenses. And then it is doing an image of your operating system. You know this feature also from Windows that you can set up an image. Our system is doing this by itself. And then it's also containing a tool to restore the operating system when the system is crashing or when the hard disk is crashing. So ABUR at the end is nothing else than a USB stick, a Mirasys USB stick with our functionalities, with the features, with the tools on it that enables you to regenerate your operating system as a bootable device. So on the old machine or on a new machine. And it also gives you a recovery by restoring our settings, reinstalling the software and setting up the licenses. On the same machine, that's fine. On a new machine, you maybe need to change the license, so giving you a new MAC address, but it's the only manual work that you have to do in that way. So a very sophisticated tool. What does it mean? There is no need to manually back up the system. I know that some of our partners are doing this when they're using their own machines or they're using some other backing up systems. But to have it in the VMS so that the VMS is taking care of it automatically and also of the operating system is the best way, I think. We know what we need to back up. No more complex operating system installation after crash anymore. So you can really restore the whole system, reconstruct the whole system. And so Mirasys ABUR is saving your valuable time by reconstructing the system. It gives you a great security, a great safety in your daily business. So now I'm coming back to the hardware. I said this is part of our hardware. If we are delivering this, this is part of our hardware. So I'm very often asked, okay, Udo, your hardware is a bit more expensive than when I'm buying, for example, Wordman hardware or Dell hardware or Fujitsu hardware. Why is this the fact? First of all, our hardware is really dedicated to video, to record video streams and to manage video footage, video streams. This does mean all the parts of this hardware, motherboard, etc., are so designed that they can manage video footage with all its performance requirements. Especially the hard disks are very important to understand. If you use hard disks, that you can buy in the standard B2B or B2C market, they are not very good for video storing. You can imagine that if you're storing video data, you have a lot of drive throughput that you need to handle 24 hours, 7 days a week, 5 days a year. And this requires a lot of performance from this hard disk. If you do this with a normal B2C hard disk, it will crash maybe. If you're lucky, after 1 year, after 2 years. If you are poor, if you are not lucky, maybe after half a year. So there are hard disks for video streaming in the market, like the Western Digital Purple. They can do it in a better way, but we go a mile beyond this. So we use Enterprise Plus hard disks with an higher annual drive throughput capacity, with sometimes 2 interfaces for separating reading and writing, with a higher performance. So I can tell you that our hard drives that we are delivering to end customers, they're running for years without any problems. I can tell you I have systems that are 7, 8 years old, and the hard disks are still running high performant. So that's the reason why our hardware is a bit more expensive. And if you want to buy these hard disks from the manufacturer, maybe you're not getting them, or you need to pay a very high price. I can tell you that there are 5, 6, 7 times higher costs for this hard disk than for standard hard disks. Okay, second point is our hard disk. Our hardware is coming with 5 years warranty. So this 5 years warranty is very important for you as well. So if the hardware is crashing, if there is any problem with the hardware, you have the guarantee of 5 years support. And the next important message is it is saving also your costs, because the hardware is coming pre-installed, pre-configured. So our VMS is installed on the system. The licenses are installed on the system. The system is pre-configured. At the end, you need to plug it in your own system, and then you can start to add cameras, to start to add users. And this is saving a lot of time for you. It gives you the guarantee also if you're saying, okay, I want to use SDD feature, or I want to use the RAID feature that we also configured before it is shipped out to you. So that's the reason why our hardware is a little bit more expensive than the standard hardware, because if you're buying it from Dell in the B2C or even in the B2B market, it is not comparable, honestly. It is not comparable. If you want to have more information about this, please contact us. We can give you more details about this, and you can try it out. You can talk to our customers who are using this. So they have a very good advantage. And yet the last advantage is really you have one-stop shop for hardware and software. Yeah, so that was it about ABUR and the SDD. So I hope that I gave you some light into the darkness of these 2 features. So again, safe and intelligent data management. SDD, safe and intelligent data management, saving costs, saving performance, saving your time by having an intelligent video recording in the system. And ABUR, safe and intelligent configuration, backup of the whole system, and restoring it in case of a problem, case of an incident, or case of a crash. So I think very good and sophisticated tools. Yeah, so that was it from my side. So we now go into the Q&A session. Let's see if there are any questions. I have learned that the live event is having some slight delay, maybe of 20 seconds. So I need to wait for your questions a bit and not thinking about, okay, there are no questions, let's cancel or stop this webinar. Okay, then let's wait and see. Maybe I'm drinking a little bit because I need to. Nice. All right, let's wait for your questions. Okay, there's one question up. Okay, do I need the license keys for the SDD or the ABUR? Again, as I said, SDD is free of charge because it's part of our whole package, software package. So, and the ABUR is also already delivered with our hardware, so it's part of this hardware package as well. So there is no additional license fee for this. Okay, there is a second question. Is it also available for version 7? Yes, it is. So this is not a brand new feature, or these are not brand new features. We have them also in version 8, version 9, and version 10, version 7. Sorry, I'm looking into the future. Available. So in that case, you can use them as well. There is another question, okay, coming up. I have bought own hardware. So can I use ABUR also on this own hardware? We don't like this because we want to sell our own hardware, honestly. But there is a way to enable this feature also on your own hardware. It's called ABUR then, automatic backup enabler. Yes, there is a possibility. So please contact your sales, who is responsible for you, so he can give you some advice how to do it and what it would cost. In that case, it would cost something. It certainly does not give us all the functionalities, but it gives you a certain way of backing up your system. So I know that one of a couple of our customers are doing this as well. Sure. Why shouldn't we do this? Yeah. Okay. It seems to be that all the questions are answered. Yeah, I think so. Okay. Then I would say it's time for me to say thank you very much for your attending. Thank you very much also for your attention. I do hope that this gives you new ideas, also a new impression of our software, how good it is. If you want to try it out, if you want to test it, please go onto our website. There is a demo request for the software, so then you can download the software. If you need to test it with multiple cameras in a, let's say, existing system, you can have also demo licenses from us. Then contact us as well. Contact sales@mirasys.com. Send us an email, and or give me a shout at udo.schneider@mirasys.com. There is no problem. If you want to talk with us about your ideas that you have to design your own system or to enrich an existing system from Mirasys with more features, maybe also additional business values that you have some problems or ideas, please contact us. Don't hesitate. We love really to support you in that way and go this extra mile with you to make your system more profitable. And at the end, also, I appreciate if you give me feedback, how you think this webinar has been, if it was fruitful for you, if it was good for you, if you have additional, let's say, ideas, what we can do, maybe together with you based on a webinar. If you have a business case that you want to share with us, which is important for other partners as well, be part of this webinar scenarios and let us know, and then we do something together. No problem. We are very open. At the end, this webinar has been recorded. It will be presented on our YouTube channel so that you can use it for your own customer or for your colleagues, that you can review it and read it again or hear it or see it again if I was too fast in some cases. And I would like to thank you very much. I do hope we see us next time, so in 2 weeks' time, when we start the next webinar session. And until then, I say again, thank you very much. Stay healthy, have a good day, have a good time, and see you soon. Appreciate it that you have attended. Bye-bye.